All right. Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Phil Dieter. Welcome back to another episode of CalChiro Live. Thanks so much for taking the time to join us. Um, we have another special guest for you today who I'll introduce shortly. But before we get started, I wanted to make sure we went through some of our announcements. As you know, we're just about a month away from the fall conference in Disneyland. So get ready for that. That's going to be a great event. Looking forward to it. I know maybe some of you guys have seen the story that I posted to my Instagram page. That was a reel that I created from our pediatric event, which was a lot of fun. And I've gotten a lot of good feedback on that. So thanks everybody who has liked and shared that reel and that type of thing. And looking forward to seeing you. So if you haven't had a chance to register yet, the QR code's on the screen right now. You can get registered. The room block, I believe, is sold out for Saturday. That's what's been happening with our events. If you're not getting on top of the room block in a quick enough period of time, we're selling out the room block. I know Don and I talked about maybe seeing if we could get a couple more rooms, but if you're wanting to stay at the Disneyland Hotel, well, you should be wanting to stay at the Disneyland Hotel. Let me tell you that first. You're never going to be able to stay there for as good a rate as we're getting for the fall conference. So make sure you're checking that out. And we'll see you guys in just over 4 weeks. I'm a little bit more dressed up today because I'm heading out to the Wave to represent CalChiro, make some awards presentations and things of that nature in Hayward at the Life West alumni event. So without further ado, I want to bring on our guest today. This is, let me see if I can get her up here on the screen real quick. There she is. All right. Excellent. This is Dr. Anita Haque joining us from the Women's Committee. Really excited to talk with her a little bit more about the Women's Committee, but would you like to introduce yourself and just tell us who you are and that kind of thing?
Sure. Well, thank you for having me on, Dr. Phil. As you mentioned, my name is Dr. Anita Haque. I am the co-chair with Dr. Stacy Duckett for the Women's Committee at CalChiro.
Yes.
And we have, collaborated together to help bring amazing events that are more focused for us female DCs that, sometimes we might get a little bit shaded from, not that we can't get great stuff from CalChiro, but it's just a little bit more focused towards some of our
Sure.
needs, our patients, our practices, and sometimes some of our lifestyle.
Sure. Well, I'm really grateful for all of the efforts you guys have made to bring the Women's Committee together to create a lot of the events that we've had at the fall conference in the past and that kind of thing. So let's just dive into it because I know you guys got an event coming up January 9th, it is, you told me?
Yes, actually, we are putting on something completely unique and special. It is going to be our first event for a women's retreat.
All
And we're
right.
going to do it January 9th through 11th. We have all the information up at CalChiro on the website already. Links on the page. We have a beautiful home, Airbnb with a pool. And really what this event's going to be about, since it's going to be at the beginning of the year, it's going to basically be a charge you up, make your practice your best year ever, for us female DCs, get on purpose without blowing up your entire life to do it. That's kind of our goal, So we're going to talk about so many things that are going to connect us with our practices, with our personal lives, things in transitioning with wealth, with our health. Just an amazing format with Dr. Barbara Eaton and Dr. Stacy Duckett. The three of us are collaborating to really make this a special, really like connecting event. So you walk away. Our goal is walk away not only feeling empowered, but a plan, kind of that energy, the momentum, and the ambition to do all the things that you really need to do for your practice in 2026 and beyond.
I love it. I mean, any chance to spend time with Dr. Eaton is special. And I know, retreats, a lot of my friends in the chiropractic space are doing retreats, and it's a unbelievable experience to be immersed in a group of people like mind, like purpose, and really do some great networking and that kind of thing, mentorship, all of those kind of things. So why don't we just kind of dive in a little bit? Can you share the mission really of the Women's Committee and kind of what you guys have created in that regard, or how that kind of came about?
Definitely. So basically, like our mission or our tagline we have is, the Women's Committee is a place to be heard, to be seen, to listen, and the place you ought to be. So that's kind of our tagline. What that really means, Dr. Phil, is, we have actually, put together these amazing continuing education master classes
Yes.
throughout the last few years that, like I said, are topics that are, from pediatrics to hormones to women's health, to things that we can do in our practice to sort of improve the outcomes of our patients as well as the outcomes of our own lives. Because I think sometimes, men and women are so busy, but women wear a lot of hats.
Sure.
So sometimes what's unique to the Women's Committee is we try to really touch base on how we can do that better because, we're moms, we're wives, we're running practices, we're doing all those things and trying to juggle it all and do it well. And so this place or this space rather for the Women's Committee is a place where we can really connect, understand each other, sometimes just knowing that we can maybe vent to each other, share ideas that maybe kind of more encompass what we're going through, gives us a leg up and really connects us even more in our profession. And that, collaboration with other female docs has been priceless, at least for me. I've learned so many things from, amazing doctors like Dr. Stacy, Dr. Barbara. I mean, just the list goes on. Dr. Leslie, who used to be the Women's Committee, she started this Women's Committee and kind of
Yeah.
passed it on to me. And then we try to bring incredible speakers that are even outside of our chiropractic profession, whether they're nutritionists, physical therapists, medical doctors. So we really want to make this encompassing and, like I said, kind of lift up our continuing education and our connections.
I love it. I love it. I teach it at Life West, and I've noticed over the last 5 to 10 years, there's more female practitioners entering the profession than male. And I always try to do things to help all of my students as they're entering into the workspace. But maybe with respect to the female population, what's maybe one or two kind of tidbits you could give them today to take home, to help them in their practices tomorrow, if they're new graduates or if they're just entering into practice?
Oh, yeah, that's a great question. I mean, a couple of tidbits I would, I'm thinking back 21 years when I started my practice.
Sure.
What do I wish I knew, right? I think sometimes not knowing, to be perfectly honest with you, Dr. Phil, probably set me on the path. Some of my naivete of not knowing maybe some of the things I had to accomplish in making
Sure.
successful practice, being young and naive was actually helpful. But, a tidbit I would say is there are no right or wrong answers. I
There
think you
you go.
have to design your life and your practice to your life as opposed to designing your life to your practice. That would
Ah,
be one tidbit I think I had taken away over the years of growth. I used to try to be perfectly honest with you when I first started my practice, and I was 24 at the
sure.
time. So I was a little bit younger,
So just a
but
couple of years ago, really.
there
Not
you
we're
go,
not talking
right?
about too long ago. Yeah.
Not that long ago, right? But at that time, I was trying to kind of practice like a male
Sure.
DC. And what I mean by that, I was like hitting it hard. I wanted to do like the numbers that I was hearing, some of those male docs and a lot of the
Yeah.
practice, like, management groups were all male driven at the time in like 2003,
Mhm.
2004 when I graduated. And I was trying to do the same thing. I was trying to hit that PVA, which is the patient visit average. Like I
Yeah.
was trying to hit the same numbers, and doing that as well as all the things that we have to do sometimes as moms and wives and all the things in our lives. It was burning me out until I realized I have to design my practice to what suits my life best, and our
Okay.
patients will start to appreciate that, respect that. It's kind of like setting boundaries in a way.
Yeah.
I would probably say that would be one big tidbit if you're setting up your practice. That is a huge thing. Sometimes you don't have to give up everything in your life to make
Sure.
your practice great. Yeah.
I love that. How do you feel like, or like, give me some ideas, like what the women's retreat's going to encompass that would expand upon that?
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you asked me. So we're going to talk about like crushing 2026, having that best year, without blowing up your life, like I mentioned. That's going to be kind of our vibe and our theme.
Yeah.
So we're going to kind of focus on some of the transitions in life that we are going through.
Okay.
All of us, we go through transitions in our relationships.
Sure.
We can go through, and I'm talking about not just relationships in terms of your kids, your spouse, your patient, even the relationship with yourself to
Sure.
reach your goals. We also are going to be discussing transitions in your health, particularly as we go through different stages of our lives and we're taking care of everybody else. Sometimes doctors like ourselves, we forget about putting ourselves and our health at the forefront. So
Sure.
we're going to touch on that because we all know. I mean, I'm preaching to the choir here with all these
Yeah.
docs, right? But you all know that we are having to lead by example and take care of ourselves first. Sometimes we don't get to do that enough. So we're going to talk about transitioning of health and what that means in different parts of our lives, whether you're menopausal, perimenopausal, post-menopause, having a baby. These are some important things and aspects in a woman's life that I think really affects not only our day-to-day and our practice, but obviously the success of our life in all realms. And then we're also going to talk about money. I think
Mm,
that transition of money and wealth and our mindset about it and how to, again, as we start the new year, we're all looking at, I know I'm always looking at what my goals are for that year in terms of, numbers and growth and strategies. So we want to hit on that as well. And that's going to be a big part of the retreat. But we're going to have a lot of fun doing this. We're going to make this really, really special where we're not just having a day of seminars. It's actually going to be more of a conversation, more roundtable. We're going to do more activities. We're going to have yoga. We're going to do meditation. We're going to actually go for a hike. We're going to, actually have things where we can bond. Because sometimes, Dr. Phil, especially with us women, some of our biggest aha moments don't happen just in a classroom. They happen, when we're bonding together and having some real conversations and starting to dive deep that way. And having this retreat is really going to allow us to dive deep. And if there's one thing you don't mind me saying, I'm sorry, I know you're going to cut in.
sure.
I'm long-winded, but why we really wanted to because you asked me, like, how did this come about? Why we wanted to do this retreat is our women's welcome meetups at the fall conferences the last few years. We have
Okay.
gotten feedback from those events. And I know there's one coming up, like you mentioned,
Yeah.
at the Disneyland Resort in just 4 weeks, August 29th from 7 to 9 p.m. But those events have brought us feedback where us women, we want to connect beyond that. Not just with our master classes here that we put on, but
Sure.
for the 2-hour event at the fall conference, but something that dives in deeper. And that's kind of what made us decide, let's do this. Let's bring what the women are asking of us.
So yeah, give me a little bit of an idea. What kind of things are they asking for? More information about like chemistry, supplementation. Let's dive into the content a little bit more so that the folks here can, even if you can touch on some of the things that maybe you're presenting, that would help people tomorrow in their offices.
Oh, you mean for the retreat? Just so I'm
Yeah,
clear? Or yeah.
right. Because you're going to be presenting material there yourself and
I
that kind
sure
of thing.
am. So I'm actually going to be focusing on presenting on health, transitioning of your health,
Okay.
um, and in many realms, and not just like with weight loss and things like that. I'm talking about hormones and how that's affecting our health, our mental health, the
Okay.
emotional health. There's not just the physical health, as we all know. So I'm going to be kind of putting together some really focus-based questions and conversations, and bring some content that make us. It's going to have us dive deeper, like I said. One thing that I would say, you can take away in your practice right now is starting small.
Okay.
Sometimes I feel we all have this tendency to look at things, as a mountain. Like, I'm going
Mhm.
to do this. I'm going to run a marathon. I'm going to do this, right? And that can obviously, be overwhelming. And sometimes we give up on accomplishing these tasks because they're such a big task. So if
Right.
there's one thing I would want to impart, to any of the listeners today, if there's something that you have a goal about, you know, maybe it is weight loss. Let's just use that one because it's such a common one
Sure.
that we're dealing with our patients every day too, right? With the
Yeah.
lifestyle. So let's say you're trying to lose 10 pounds. I would advise this little tip. Don't look at it as 10 pounds. Start with
Okay.
one small thing you can do every day. What I think that we miss, and I know I have as well, so I'm speaking from my own experience, is
Sure.
small micro changes that you can make every single day that compounds over time. So instead of going on this massive diet, for example, and say,
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna like start Monday, I'm not eating any more of this. I'm going, I'm gonna hit the gym now finally. Maybe your decision is come Monday, I'm gonna eat more vegetables. That's all I'm gonna do. I'm not worrying about taking everything out of my diet. I'm not worrying about like hitting the gym for 2 hours. I'm just going to do one small thing and then build that into a small habit that starts to increase your momentum to do better and transition. So that's why I'm saying it's more of a transition and not just a switch,
I
because life
love it.
is not like that.
I
Mhm.
love it. One question that I always kind of think about in my own practice, is because chemistry, body chemistry in general is just so fascinating, right? There's so many challenges, fluctuations in chemistry. like, what do you recommend in terms of supporting people through chemistry changes, maybe either during pregnancy or maybe later in life, as people are entering into menopause? What are some advice you can give our listeners to help their patients with supporting chemistry and things of that nature?
Well, I mean, there's definitely based on the stage of life,
Hmm.
obviously, that they are. You mentioned like menopause or pregnancy. I think that one thing that we can do to help our patients better is talk about some of the lifestyle changes that happen with the chemistry.
Yeah.
Preparing them a little bit more. Sometimes, if you're not prepared for something negative to happen, you can overreact when it does
Hmm.
happen. And it
Right.
can keep you, yeah, it can actually make things worse. So I think that us having more of those conversations of like, okay, for example, you're in perimenopause. Here are some of the changes that you might experience in this chemistry with your body. And here's how I'm going to be able to help you, whether it's through some supplementation, maybe some hormone testing,
Okay.
perhaps myself, I actually, talk about doing some natural hormone replacement, like naturopathic things,
All
also
right.
some nutritional things, that we can implement. And these are the things that I feel our patients are looking for. They're searching for it on the web. They're asking Chat GPT and everything else, right? Like we're all using
Yeah.
AI these days. So they're coming in thinking that they're the experts, but truly we are the experts. So if we can give them that guidance because they were looking for that information already by paying attention to what stage of life that they are, I think you're going to become, as the doctor, even more of their primary doctor in their life
Yeah.
because their other doctors probably aren't even doing that, right? They're just, we already know. We all
Sure.
listening here, we know they're just writing their scripts, they're treating symptoms, not really the cause. So I think that we have a benefit to really impact our patients, not just on that physical level with our adjustments, but also on the mental and the emotional level by the conversation and the lifestyle things that we bring in as chiropractors that other physicians don't.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, it's the willingness to have the hard conversation.
Hmm.
And can you share with me kind of like a script that you would use to introduce the hard conversation, or uh,
Hmm.
maybe kind of if you're listening for or hearing certain, like, what are the buzzwords maybe you're listening for in a conversation that would make you say, hey, okay, now it's time to have that hard conversation, and then how would you lead into that kind of thing?
Yeah, for me, I find it very, very easy to have hard
Okay.
conversations.
Sure.
And
Well, I'm talking about maybe for dumb
yeah,
men
yeah,
like
yeah.
me who need some help, and
Totally. Yes. Men are, not that, not a blanket statement or anything, but yes, women are more nurturing. And so sometimes I feel like
right.
sometimes patients offload a lot of their inner thoughts easily just because, when you're touching a patient, for example, and even
Sure.
I think male doctors can do this too. You find, let's say, a subluxation, obviously there's like tight top muscles around there, scar tissue. And the question could be like, where is this really coming from? What are you holding on in here? Let's talk
Right.
about it. How long, like something's just asking that question, you get better answers. Ask better questions, get better answers, get better information. So it's not even having to have a hard conversation per se. My advice would be is ask them the questions, take the moment to do so. And of
Mm.
course, if you're a busy practice and you're seeing a bunch of patients, sometimes you can't have a 20-minute conversation with each and every single
Sure.
patient. So there's little tidbits of things you can do. So for me, I'm also very busy. I see multiple patients, and multiple
Hmm.
services in my practice. So for me, it's like for a patient maybe confiding in me, I will give them a tidbit of something that they can do. Hey, let's start here. And then on your next visit, when you come in on Wednesday, I'm going to talk to you about this. So it gives them something to look forward to in their adjustment or their treatment with you as they come in, because there's another component that they can offload. And you don't need to become their therapist. That's not the intention
Sure.
necessarily. Some people don't want to be like that, obviously. However, giving a safe place for them to open up, to have those hard conversations, and you can give them the better advice on, hey, let's get a hormone test. Let's go do this. Let's talk. Yeah, let's get to the next steps. Let's maybe implement this nutritional supplement. Let's get you in this program for your health, which might encompass more nutritional, if that's something that you docs might be doing in your own practices.
So for people like me who can't come to the women's committee retreat or anything of that nature, what are some of the best resources you find for learning more about the chemistry changes or the physiology changes, or just the anatomy in
Mm.
general that we would want to pay attention to?
Well, we bring a lot of that information at our master
Hmm.
classes. So, a lot of this is through, and we offer continuing education for these master classes. So, Dr. Phil, I would recommend all of you here, even men, are welcome to come join us for these master classes, because that's where we're really honing in on some of these conversations and the chemistry, the hormones, the neurological changes, the physiological changes in women and in kids and pregnancy. So we're bringing a lot of that into our master classes, and we've been doing that for the last few years. I think since
Yeah.
2020, I believe. So it's been I can't believe it's been 5 years. So, and we enjoy doing that. So we actually bring 3 master classes a year at this point. And we also obviously do the welcome meetup at the fall
Mhm.
conference, which is, like you said, just 4 weeks away. Super excited. And that would be a great place for even men like yourself to really come join us. And of course, there's resources, you male docs are just as smart as us. I know you guys can research, and with your information and same, educational
Sure.
training, there's so much wealth of knowledge. But yeah, I understand what you're asking me, Dr. Phil, because sometimes it might be more challenging as a male DC to maybe have some of these like hormonal questions with their female patients. But it really, I think it comes off not awkward if the doctor is confident enough to ask those
So that's
questions.
what it's really about, making yourself comfortable, having that confidence and certainty
Mhm.
to have that difficult conversation, and being a professional, obviously, and that kind of thing. Correct me if I'm wrong. Aren't those master classes available online asynchronously?
Yes, they are. They're actually on demand. They're available at CalChiro. Thank you for reminding me. So anybody can go back, sign up. It's very inexpensive from
Yeah.
CalChiro to do and you get your CE as well. So it's a win-win
That's
situation.
awesome. That's definitely, as I'm thinking about it here, just in this talking, that's probably something I should go back and take a look at myself, just to see what more I can learn, and that kind of thing. So excellent. Well, tell us how. Well, you've touched on a little bit about how people can connect with you at the fall conference. Tell us again what you guys have going on at the fall conference in a month.
Yeah, so we are going to do like a Lillian Speakeasy vibe. It's going to be from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Of course, like I said, August 29th. And what we're going to do, and what we've done traditionally, is it's kind of like a discussion, an evening where we have some wine, some nibbles, and then we actually have some poignant questions for the attendees, things that are based upon like, what are your challenges? What are some of your wins that you have? How can CalChiro help you better? What are things that you want to learn more or bring into your practice? So it gives us a chance to really connect with all of our CalChiro female DCs there, to find out what do they need more, and that way we can create that framework for those master classes as we move forward. And in addition to that, we walk away having these amazing conversations, Dr. Phil, where we get to learn about each other's practices, get these tips, things, little nuances of stuff as women that we don't even think about, which is why a lot of our women, especially from the last fall conference, walked away saying, can we do
Yeah,
this again? Can we do this as over a weekend? Can we do this more than just 2 hours? It wasn't enough. Like, we wanted more. We were thirsty for more. So I think that any of, the listeners here today are thinking about coming to the fall conference, and you want to join us at the women's welcome meeting. Obviously you have to be a female. That's like our, we don't mean to like be, leave out you guys, but it gives us a safe space sometimes to say things and confide in each
sure.
other in ways that sometimes we can't always do in a room full of guys.
Well, it sounds like there's no replacement for being in the room, and I always try to reiterate that to people. And I'm so grateful for all the work that you guys have done to create what you've created. And thank you so much for all of your efforts. And keep doing what you're doing. And however we can support you, or I can support you, let me know. Tell people how they can connect with you. Oh, people are connecting with you right now. Tell people how they can connect with you if they want more info, or if they just want to reach out to you.
Sure, definitely. And you guys can obviously, we can put this out if there's a possibility on the chat. So my personal email, and everybody's welcome to email me, ask me questions, is going to be Dr. Haque, DRHAQUE, my name, at hawkechiro.com. And they can also reach out and get more of this information from CalChiro and Dr. Stacy and Kelly and Dawn. I mean, we have so much information already put out through CalChiro, but I'm happy to connect with any of you, male and female, at any time, because I really am enjoying the contributions that we've been able to do through the Women's Committee. So thank you for letting us do that too.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. And looking forward to seeing you down there in Disneyland. Like she said, it's about 4 weeks away. So make sure you're either getting your attendance or your registration taken care of, and make sure you check in on that hotel room block, because I think the hotel room block sold out for Saturday night. So that means you can. I guess you'll have to find somewhere else to stay. I don't have any extra beds in my place, so I can't let anybody stay over. So, all right, everybody, let's try to give away some money today, and we will go from there. So, let's bring up the wheel. You going to stay online with us, Anita, for the wheel? Okay, good. All
Definitely.
right. So, as you know, we have $500 today to try to give away. To win the money, you have to be on the broadcast, you have to be a member, and you have to respond that you're here in the chat within 30 seconds. Looks like we got some previous winners here. Dr. Grace, I saw you there. So, Dr. Grace won the money just a couple of weeks ago. But let's do our first name. Wendy Lancer. Wendy Lancer, you're our first winner. Let's see if you're here to collect your prize. Do you know Wendy?
No, I'm still
Oh,
rooting for
okay.
her.
That's great. Let's see if Wendy responds in the chat in the next 30 seconds. But that's awesome. I'm glad you're so happy, Anita. I appreciate that.
I'm cheerleading big
I
winner
love it.
here
I
for
love it.
$500.
Let's go. Let's get it done. Let's give away some money. Um, I left it. Where is your office again? Can you tell us about that a little bit?
Yeah, I'm in Livermore, California. I'm in the East Bay. And I do offer more than just chiropractic. I'm like many of the other docs here. We do massage, we do some cryotherapy, and now we actually offer some shockwave
Oh, cool.
therapy. Really amazing stuff.
Awesome.
Yes.
Well, I don't see Wendy responding in the chat, so it looks. I always try to give it a little bit of a delay before we spin the next time, just because we're on a little bit of a delay. But I think we can do name number 2. So let's try to see if we can give away somebody to name number 2. Isaac Corona. Isaac Corona, you are name number 2. Let's see if you're here to collect your prize. I didn't know you were so close in Livermore. I was just talking to Dr. Matt Alexander last night, who's got offices in Livermore, Pleasanton, all over. And we were talking about maybe doing some CE classes there, either at his office or in that area, to try to bring together some of the members just locally in that region, because I know Alameda's close to there. Walnut Creek's not too far. So might have to reach out to you a little bit to see if you could help us collaborate and spread the word about.
Please do. I'd love to
Yeah,
help. Yeah.
I was excited after my conversation with Matt. Do you know Matt very well?
I don't know him very well, but I do know
Yeah,
Dr. Matt, and I know that he's, yeah, very, very busy. But I think that would be fantastic. Having a CE class close by like that to
yeah.
collaborate would be really
We haven't
fun.
done anything in
I'd
the
be there for
Livermore
sure.
area or in that area in a while. So, all right. Well, I don't see Isaac here with us today, which must make everybody in the chat happy, because that means we're going to move on to our third name. I think we're ready for our third name. Judy Day. Judy Day, you are name number 3. Lots of new names here today that I've never seen before, but that's great. I've been really excited to see that our membership is growing recently, and I'm hopeful that we can continue to reach out to our friends and colleagues and help them understand the value of our organization. If you're with us today and you ever want me to meet with somebody who's not a member, or we can go to lunch, we can meet up for coffee, any of those kind of things, or invite them to meetings like we're talking about. Been trying to really do a lot of complimentary meetings for people in the Santa Clara area where I'm at, and that kind of thing, just to give back to the chiropractic community and show people how much we're supporting the chiropractic profession, like you're doing. To be honest with you, I think all of the stuff that you've put together and ways that you've put it together have added a lot of value to the organization. So I'm grateful for that. So,
Oh, like I said, thank you. I really feel good about bringing our profession to the next level, and any contributions, I feel like it raises all of us. So it's definitely inspires myself too to do so. So thank
well, I
you.
don't see Judy responding in the chat. So let's do name number 4, I believe. Usually the chiropractic tells me, oh, there it is. The chiropractic told me that was now we're at, oh my goodness, Ashley Nestor. I know Ashley. That's one of my students. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
If you can tell Ashley, somebody should reach out to Ashley in the chat and tell her she won. Oh my goodness. Does anybody else on this chat know Ashley? I'm wondering. I can't tell sometimes who's with us because they have names like Chiropractor Life and Chiropug, so it can get a little confusing sometimes if it's a real person or a robot, kind of thing. But oh, I think Robbie, you might know Ashley Nestor. Oh goodness, I'm gonna have to tell Ashley she won the money, but she wasn't here to collect today. $500 could go a long. Oh, her roomie is here today on the chat. Oh my goodness, that could go a long ways towards helping a student get to the fall conference. $500. All right, so that was our fourth spin. That means we have one more spin. It sounds like, if the Chiropug is telling me correctly, then let's do our fifth and final spin for today. Oh, KO Duxie. I know KO too. I think KO's over by you or in the East Bay right there a little bit more. Let's see if KO's here today. And as I'm mentioning it, if anybody is interested in supporting students for the fall conference, we'd love to see donations or support. We have a fund that we've created for students to get travel reimbursement expenses, to help with hotel rooms. And if you are a student on the broadcast, you can get your fall conference registration paid for if you're willing to volunteer 4 hours of your time at the conference. I also have some other opportunities to help me at the booth at the Wave this weekend, and or help us make calls to key doctors that are willing to reach out to legislators and things of that nature. So if you're a student with us here today and you want free registration to the fall conference, let me know and we'll get you connected in some way to work towards that end. So it doesn't look like we have a winner this week, which should make the chat happy. That means next week we'll have $600 to give away. I don't know how much money it's going to take to get people to watch and to register, but I guess $600. We'll see if $600 moves the needle. So thanks again so much.
I mean, I'll take the 500.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks again so much for being with us today. Really appreciate it. Very informative. Looking forward to connecting with you in a month, and take care. Thanks so much.
Thank you guys so much. Have a
All
great
right.
one.